We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
But where's the file that you recorded? Not even on there.
It's not even there, bro.
That's all good. Shit happens. Or doesn't.
Or does not.
Doesn't.
There you go. That does or does not happen. That is the question.
No.
A great story for you to tell. Like, don't interview with those guys.
Nah, man. That's all good.
I see that light blinking. I'm just making sure that it's.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just supposed to show up here and talk and do the interview, not also run the controls. Poor Julio. He probably feels so awkward right now. He's like,
We need some timeout, guys.
he's like this family stuff.
Oh, shit.
Am I here for the end of the podcast? What did I tell you about? I think I'm cursed.
He did it.
I said it at the very beginning that this is the third time I've done a podcast, and the other ones were never released.
Oh, man.
This is the reason why I didn't want to start drinking. And
Oh, whatever, motherfucker. Hurry up.
welcome to Nobody Cares Podcast SATX. I'm Tone Solo, and with me is the guy behind the controls that hits record. All right. Dirty Aaron.
Yo, what's up?
And with us today, we have a very special guest, our friend. You might know him from bands like Muncie's Nurse and Esta Noche, Mr. Julio Lopez. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm glad you're here putting up with us, and we're just glad you showed up, and we're excited to talk to you, man.
Yeah, no, likewise, man. It's been a minute, and I really am genuinely happy to be here. It was like perfect timing.
Everybody works, everybody has their own thing going, and then, you're asking somebody to give up their Saturday, to do a 12-hour recording session. It's not, it's just...
I'm all, wait, what?
Yeah, man, so let's just get into it, like origin stories, how you came into music, what got you into it. Like I said, did it start early for you? Like when you were a young kid, were you always into music?
Yeah, when people ask me like how long I've been playing music, I tend to always say that it was around 6 or 7 years old. But really, I think music has always been a part of my life. There's always been some sort of soundtrack to family gatherings or Saturday mornings or whatever,
Yeah.
It's just always been a thing. And I think that how I see those moments in my life, I value them in a different way. I consider them to be just as much a part of my musical journey as the actually playing music. But playing music, I started when I was around 6 or 7 years old, after this little family trip with some family from Houston that was just passing through on their way to Allende. They invited me to go with them to their ranch, and I was super excited because I've never been to a ranch before, and it was a really incredible time. On the way back from that trip, you go past Piedras Negras border. And where I'd been through many, many times with my family, because a lot of my family's from Coahuila, Mexico, specifically Nueva Rosita. But on the way back, there's this little kind of traffic light that tells you green or red if you get to pass or
Just before Kickapoo.
Yeah. Get to pass or go. And we got red, and so they had us pull over. They brought over dogs and Border Patrol agents and asked us to take all everything out of the van we were traveling in, and tripped me out as a little kid because it was the first time that I'm experiencing something like this, and they were pretty scary and angry looking. So they made us take everything out, and in doing that, one of them kind of stops and turns around and asks whose is that, and was pointing to this black box that I hadn't really noticed. My cousins pointed to their friend and said, "Oh, that's his," and upon opening it, it turned out to be an accordion. What was interesting is that it kind of turned from this really scary moment. Border Patrol was looking super aggressive, "Oh yeah, well if you play accordion, then why don't you play him Happy Birthday," pointing to another Border Patrol. And And he did. And when he did, like everything changed and their demeanor changed and they just became a lot friendlier and let us go. Of course, they didn't help us put any of the stuff back into the van.
Oh, yeah.
But
The music, the great unifier.
it just kind of blew my mind. And, I'd heard accordion my entire life in a bunch of different songs and stuff, but I'd never actually seen somebody play it live or up close at least, And so as soon as we got back to San Antonio, I was like, fuck, I want to learn how to play accordion. I told my parents and I'm super excited and they were, excited and supportive as well. But after like looking for lessons, it was just, they realized it was like too expensive. And so they found an alternative in mariachi and found a free class where I got to learn to play guitar. And since then it's kind of been, it's the thing I started in. And from there, like kind of went on to play vihuela and, later on played, trumpet in middle school band and in high school band. And those things just became a part of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And still do. Still play all of those things.
So how does the rock come into your life? The rock music.
So one of my uncles, who's my mom's younger brother, was I think a huge influence. Not I think, he certainly was a huge influence in our lives. We were the first generation to be born here in the States, and when my family moved here, he was in his teens, I think, or he was still relatively young. So he was in school here. In his experience, he picked up a lot of like the '90s grunge stuff scene, and so because we were younger than him, and he was a little older and had like these high school friends and stuff, people that we thought were like so cool and stuff. He introduced us to a lot of like pop culture in a way that was very different than like what we grew up seeing at home.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like the '90s grunge stuff and a lot of like film stuff and a lot of food stuff. And for me personally, I think he's been one of the biggest influences in my life in terms of how I see the world, in terms of how curious I am about things. Everything from like, the music we were listening to film and watching, show us stuff like Kids or Trainspotting. It's because of him that I pushed myself to like black olives on pizza, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it's just, I think that was formative, the things that I do now and how I kind of navigate the world.
Nice. So you started playing in bands around high school?
Probably middle school. It was also his idea, that uncle, that like for my cousins and I to start a band. Three of us that were the same age, days apart. Two of us are days apart, maybe about 16 days, and Baltimore is a little older with like by maybe about a month or something like that, month and a half.
Oh, when you're little kids, though, that shit matters. Like, I'm older, motherfucker.
Yeah. It is the thing. And so I was the middle one, right? Yeah. And my uncle had this idea for us to start a band. He loved music. We were like, sure. And in middle school, we started a band called The Paradigm for the purpose of a talent show called Our Part of Town through Paragon Cable or something.
Back in the day.
Yeah. We played Under the Bridge. Baltimore played guitar. Juan played bass. Our friend Mike was singing and playing guitar. Drums were left. So I was like, well, I'll play drums. And I bought this like little pair of drums, and did our best, but obviously we didn't win. I was not a good drummer. Baltimore was always a good guitar player, and I think Juan was solid, and I think Mike was great. I think
he was like picking up on the drums.
Yeah, it was just not a thing. I was like, and I see Chad Smith now, and I'm like, no, obviously not.
And just real quick, it's always the cool uncle, right, that turns you on to all this great stuff, all the stuff you don't know about it.
That catalyst, man, or that fire starter, right? And it became a big part of our life. So we did Paradigm in middle school. And then in high school, we met Renee, whose dad was the band director at McCullough. He and I started talking about music and stuff. And Baltimore was also in band. Juan at that point wasn't in band anymore. We talked about getting together someday, and we did. And we began by playing a bunch of Rage Against the Machine songs, locked ourselves in the band hall. Again, being lucky that his dad was the band director.
No shit. I was like, how the hell?
Yeah, man.
That's cool.
It's really cool.
Mr. Badarev was, also very influential. Yeah. At least for me, was certainly a huge person in my life. So we went from there to playing like the talent shows, and we fucking did really good. was exciting for us, and we enjoyed the energy and the response.
And this is still Paradigm, right?
No, this is Muncie's.
Oh, at this point, yeah, sorry, I was Muncie's nurse.
Oh, so it already...
Yeah, right when we got into high school, it was like the Paradigm thing didn't last very long.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how long did that last?
I'm not sure like why we decided to stop that. But I just think our mind wasn't there, or like our drive wasn't there for it. I think we were middle school kids,
Yeah.
So by this time, you've already switched over to becoming the singer, the frontman.
Yeah, well, Renee and I started talking about music on a ride to like McDonald's down the street, and it was right around Halloween. I remember there was a skeleton between us, and we just clicked, and we were talking about getting together and working on music. I think that's a part of me being a part of the band. The guitar was taken up, bass, drums was taken up, and I'll take vocals. Yeah. I've been singing in mariachi already, so it wasn't anything that was like it wasn't entirely brand new, but it was certainly different. I don't think I fully thought out what it meant.
The guys, obviously they had your back, or I feel like...
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. The pieces just fit. And so we were all supportive of what each other were doing. It wasn't like, well, I want to play guitar. I want to play this or whatever. And I think I've always had this kind of performance, like, attitude towards like life, and from when I was very little, man, like imitating singers and like performing for my like tias and my grandma and like, they would ask me to do certain things and I'd be like,
don't want to do it,
pretending to be like bronco or all kinds of stuff. It was just always a thing like that. It was a part of my life, and I think now I recognize that I was always just kind of performing,
born performer.
And
maybe they knew that too, like your uncle.
Yeah. I think that's where things just kind of aligned, and it worked out. We did our first show at that talent show playing, and we did guerrilla radio. It was fucking great. The response was awesome. People went crazy. It was a packed auditorium.
It was a high school talent show. Yeah, because I remember that show. Like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
crazy. Who the hell are these guys playing Rage Against the Machine? And they're playing it good.
From there, we kept it going. I like the feeling of yelling into a mic and running around and doing all of that stuff. Again, I hadn't really solidified what I wanted to do with it, and I don't know that I ever fully will, but it was still just kind of this new experience that we were into.
So when you start writing like lyrics for the band and start putting your stamp on them, like who is Baltimore coming up with the music, or it's all of y'all? And then
I think Baltimore came up with a lot of the riffs, what we were doing. Both Renee and Juan, like their approach to music was like really like strong and super genuine. I think Baltimore just had that kind of like vision overall about the sound, but certainly Renee was an incredible drummer. I think he's still one of the best drummers I've had an opportunity to see and play with. And then Juan's approach to music was always I always saw Juan's playing as the way I imagine skaters approach skating. Like there was an aggressiveness there that was like not afraid to.
Very confident too.
He was good. Yeah, he was just a really good bass player.
Yeah.
Again, Renee grew up playing music, was always around band and all that stuff. And then Baltimore, thinker, writer. He was a gearhead.
Like in the album, right? Was it the beginning?
57.
Oh yeah. Well, that 57 was a friend of ours, Rudy. It was I think it was our friend Rudy's car. They were visiting us at the studio and we were recording the album. We were like, we should get your car in the beginning. It's funny, I hadn't thought about that. I was like,
that's pretty cool.
We're like, cool, yeah. And like, all right. And it was just one of those late nights where like all the ideas sound cool. And we were like, sure, yeah. And the producer we were working with brought out a really long cable and set it up so we had microphones outside of the studio.
Where were y'all recording at this time?
Rhapsody Street. Rhapsody Street. Yeah, Baltimore had done an internship there. In high school, we were connected to them through that relationship. We wanted him to like peel out. We were like, yeah, this is going to be great at the beginning of the album. And so if you hear it, the car turns off. And it doesn't start, and then like you hear the music in the background, and that's all very like real. And then he does it again. It's the same shit. And then I hear Renee's like, orale. I always remember Renee's orale. Yeah. Later, a friend of ours, he sent us a video of his little kid in his little tricycle and pretending he's like, it's his sound on the little tricycle. And then he like takes off right at the right time. And I was like, what? That's like, amazing. But that was all absolutely real. That actually worked out.
So with like the lyrics and stuff for the album, was this like stuff you had already written, or it was after hearing the riffs that Baltimore was having, or did you have a notebook where you were already?
No, you know, I wanted to, I pretended that I was a lot deeper with it than I actually was. And I mean, it's high school, right? And
yeah.
I think that like, it's taken me a long time to feel comfortable writing lyrics. And even now I struggle with it, you know, and it takes me a long time for me to like feel like sure of something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most of the time it was like the band was playing, and I mean, even when we did live shows, sometimes I didn't have all the lyrics written out, and people were like, "Well, what are you saying? I like it, but what are you saying?" I'm like, "Well, I'm not saying anything. Like, I'm just kind of making noises." But I think that's also part of my process too, is like me getting to know the song. I don't think any of the things that we recorded I had like already in a notebook somewhere, you know. I think it was just deeper, rhythmically, and like just deeper and get to like the real feeling of it. I think a lot of that comes from just some of the things that I was into personally, and singers that like I admired and followed, like Ella Fitzgerald, and like some of the scatting that she would do.
Because mostly you're scatting, you're fucking that rhythm.
Yeah, and that's all it was, you know, in the beginning, and so sometimes it was not until we were at the studio and we're like, all right, so it's your turn, and I'm like, ooh, okay, can you help me write this? I'm like,
also, y'all wrote collectively together, but
I mean, there were moments here and there. I wrote like the lyrics for that, but there were definitely parts where I was like not ready.
Yeah, part
of the process.
Yeah,
and me just getting to know the role. I don't think I fully understood what I would have to do and how important it was.
Yeah,
but it just worked out. Some things came out.
So you're out now. You're out of high school. Y'all are still Montana, so now y'all are playing.
I'm still in high school.
Still in high school.
I teach high school.
That's right.
Well, after I said I'm still in high school, I realized, wait, I am. I am actually still teaching.
Still teaching.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thanks, teach music and theater.
Theater. Oh, nice.
I also did theater. I'm very dramatic.
Me too.
Yeah.
I just auditioned for Scorch Cover voiceover actor. They said I could be the voice. So I was like,
what?
Of a villain, yeah.
You know, I that was my dream job when I was a kid, voice actor.
Oh.
My dad had this little tape player that had those little built-in microphones.
Yeah.
And it was like the dual cassette thing. And I had a fake radio show. I called the Billy and Bob show. When Juan was there, I would, you know, have him join me, and I would like make crank calls and stuff. Like made all the voices myself.
Oh, yeah.
Like actually, like I wanted to do that to this day. Like, you know.
Do you still have the tapes?
Actually, I wish I did. I wish I did. I mean,
we got a little surprise for you.
Yeah.
Well, we just found one right
Really?
here on
Oh.
eBay.
Yeah, it was so weird, man. But I wish I did. When I think about voices now and how I think about singing, I've had a lot of experience of like the way I analyze how people do voices, the tongue to the air to the mouth and all that. Like I think it's super interesting.
It's like singing,
Yeah.
everything from your diaphragm, learn
Right.
certain ways to sing, and it helps you sound better.
Yeah,
Makes you
yeah.
hold a note longer. Yeah. So
No, so I'm still interested in that. But I used to do voices all the time.
could we get a character voice right now? Or is that too awkward? Is that
Hey, let's do it.
Yeah.
You got something for us.
Well, I don't know how it's going to sound out here. Like, let me see. If you know the name of the movie you'd like to see, press 1 now. To browse and choose for movie titles and previews, press 2 now. For information on a particular theater, press 3 now. Enter now.
That was fucking good, bro.
wow, that was really good.
Hell yeah.
That almost sounded like Kramer, man, from
Why did you just tell me the name of the movie? Yeah.
oh man, that was so good. You selected.
Yeah. Agent Zero. I know too much of that script, I guess. I didn't know I knew that.
I was about to fucking follow you on that shit. I'm like, wait, we're gonna get sued, like motherfucker.
Wow, that was good.
That was, man, badass.
Well, if teaching didn't work out.
This really took a different turn than the first time we tried it.
Wait, what first time are you fucking
Oh,
talking
boy,
about?
was there a first time?
No, never mind.
Oh, wait, the light's blinking, so I think we're okay.
Sentimental beggar, elevating desecration. Tombstones that stood before the burning lights. Track marks left on one corner of wall. Leaning hands gone with miracle wafers. Blistered spywing color these eyes. Sleepless death comes to cure when you're able. Take my advertise. Got these wrists, let me down. Flood my soul, let me drown. Got this stick in me life.
Wow, well. All right, so let's get back to this thing. So y'all start playing venues. You go out. What were some of the cool venues that you'd like to play at back in the day?
It was always fun doing places like Sam's Burger Joint. The White Rabbit was always really exciting, especially in the beginning with lottery nights. Rick would be like, that band or no? You'd get your little tickets, we'll turn them in, and you get whatever off the ticket price. I mean, those were cool spots, and then of course playing all the like parties and all that stuff were always super fun. We did a really cool fundraiser show once for a young kid that had cancer. Through some friends, like we got connected to the show at a place called Cafe Revolution, and I think that show for me was super huge because we were doing it for a great cause,
Right.
and we wanted to help and support. And there were also a bunch of little kids at that show, this DIY place. I remember picking up one of the little kids. They was singing with us.
Oh,
like
so
really
cool.
badass. I think it was like, the venues were cool. And then there was also these like other opportunities that we had that were a little bit more like the DIY or punk rock kind of feel.
Yeah.
That I really liked.
Always like those. There was a cool one, the Underground.
Yeah.
I think we played together one time
Yeah,
there,
the
and real small, but I mean, just
That's right.
straight punk rock there, man.
There's a lot of places like that.
Yeah.
It was the Underground. I mean, Bonds was always really cool.
Yeah, Bonds was always good.
Remember you fucking swinging from bomb rafters and shit?
Yeah.
Like, there's Julio.
Bonds was always cool.
Yeah.
We had our second CD release there.
We were there.
Yeah, we were there.
That was one of the most iconic pictures that we saw too. Like the South Side, y'all in front of BJ Southside.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of like a leaflet flyer.
Yeah.
But it was given, I think, with the CD.
Yeah, it was in the like a little
Yeah, because
card thing, like cardboard.
we bought it, and like to anybody who still has that shit, I don't know if y'all got it.
Yeah, I'm sure we have.
Great fucking picture.
I think Juan's really good about some of that stuff. I don't know if he still has some of that stuff, but he held on to quite a few things.
Like even the shirt, we had released ours at the same time, and we're like, well, shit, why don't we just trade for shirts?
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
the
what?
trading for
Yeah.
shirts, trading the merch.
That was so
yeah,
cool
that was
because
cool.
actually, Juan and Baltimore wore our shirts when on fucking stage. They're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so fucking cool.
Well, now you're calling me out. No.
Especially too, you didn't bring me my CD. So
You know what? I did think about that. Right? I was like, and I would have, but I completely forgot. I was texting you like, I'm running late.
Everybody was running late. I think Aaron was running late too.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Also on the CD cover, in the back of it, y'all have the picture of the water tower right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
on Hutchins.
Iconic.
Yeah, on Hutchins, when it was
Or
still,
not on Hutchins, but off of
It's Vestal.
Pleasanton.
it was red and white, and
Now it's like McCullum Horse.
Cowboys. Yeah.
Well, it was that. So that's in there.
Yes, sir.
BJ's music is there.
Yeah.
And then the other picture that's there with the little, like, it's got the, I guess it's like orange stripes or something like that. It's like a building. And that building was the Winds that's down the
Oh, fucking Wiz.
Winds,
We
yeah.
always talked about this, right? Like, we're going to buy that fucking place.
buy that
turn it
building.
into a fucking record store, music shop, coffee shop, and then we sell beer.
Yeah, no, that was in. That's all like Baltimore stuff. Baltimore was always visually like incredible.
Yeah.
He was like early into like all the Photoshop stuff. Most of the stuff that had to do with like Muncie's Nurse was a lot of his stuff. I mean, we'll throw in ideas here and there, but yeah, he was the one driving a lot of that.
It was iconic for us because a lot of us, that's where we got our first, guitar.
Yeah,
BJ's
BJ's music
outside.
was awesome.
Yeah.
They'd be doing in there, a lot of like country and folk stuff. Sometimes
for
they'd
sure.
have their jam sessions. That was like
Yeah.
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
We went to school with a grandkid at McCullum. Yeah, I mean, that was the place where I got my first guitar, and we got our first amps and all of that.
Yeah, same here.
It was huge. I don't know what it is now. Is it a club now or something?
No,
it's not?
I don't know what
it
the hell
is.
It got very sketchy, man. Somebody bought like half a fucking where. They built like 3 fucking houses, chingon.
Yeah.
And I really don't fucking know, but Renee was telling me, he's like, yeah, dude, they own like half the block. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was the one telling me about it.
Yeah.
And when they took BJ's down, which is kind of sad. I'm glad that got captured in time.
The representation of the South Side, the water towers, and that
Yeah.
picture is like, it's just a cool thing to show like, where you're from.
The visual senses take you back.
Yeah.
Shit. I was like, am I that old? God damn it.
So you're doing Muncie's Nerves. So y'all kind of take a break. We don't hear from y'all for a while, and there's no more shows. Did y'all break up, or it's just like, hey, we're gonna take a break and focus on other things, or
Yeah,
I think that happened?
I can't say it's just like one thing. I think at the end of it, we were all heading in different directions and had different perspectives on maybe how to do what we were doing, how to approach it, on writing music and stuff. And I think that like that created maybe some tensions here and there, but like overall, I think we recognize that it's just like change, man. I can't point to like one exact thing. Like we certainly had our little moments and fights and stuff here and there, but nothing that would ever like break up our actual relationships. And
Yeah, no bad blood, no animosity.
no. I mean, there are certainly tensions here and there, but nothing like that. It's
just growing, right?
Yeah, we're growing in our own way. I know for myself, I'm making different friends and like kind of exploring life in a different way. We all kind of did, I mean, our whatever relationships that we wanted and were curious about or whatever, and that made the most sense.
It happens, right? Like I said, it's like you've been together for a long time. Sometimes you just need a break.
Yeah.
And then it just ends up as that, well, just, get back and play music till 10 years from now. Or, because everybody grows up, your mind changes.
Tony wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool. Like,
I auditioned for Noche and got turned down.
For real? I was like, shoot. I was like,
He did invite me one time. He's like, hey, man, if you want to come and try out. Do you remember that?
yeah, I think I did.
And I was like, okay, I'll try. I'll see if and I think I told Aaron, he's like, well, you should go. I was like, all right.
there was a condition. Even if you get into the band, can I quit this fucking band?
Like, oh, yeah, I couldn't quit the other.
You couldn't quit. You got to do them both, motherfucker. But I'm like, go and fucking do it. I told him, go do
That's
it, man.
right,
Like, it's
man.
fucking badass.
That's funny. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so I was like, well, I don't,
Really cool.
I don't know if I can keep up. I was like, I don't know.
But I would Julio fucking ask you. So I tell him, he was like, well, I don't know. I'm like,
Well,
come
no,
on, bro.
I think the conversation started was, I think y'all had just lost one of the, or you wanted to add a second guitarist because it was
like
just
that.
you.
Yeah,
and you were like, I want to focus more on the other things, so
Yeah.
I need another guitarist to help me out. And I was
Also,
like,
too, I think
I'll
it was,
help.
this is going into Los Esta Noche,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
now here
Okay.
comes the... Yeah. And we're like, Tony, play the rhythm parts, do the fucking trumpet. And I think maybe that could have been part of the reason, but that song.
Man, I should have gone just to but,
Yeah. I mean, I've just never really sought out to be like I'm not a soloist. Like I don't like
Right.
never like being lead is not my thing. I think I'm a pretty decent like rhythm player.
Collaborator, though.
That's not like I'm not gonna put in the work it takes to be a lead guitarist, and I do it now at times, and
Right.
but because I have to, and we have another guitar player, Juancho, now with Esta Noche that like it's great, and he covers a lot of the stuff that I'm just like I want to focus on like vocals, I want to focus on other things. Like it was just not my.
He's like
it's not my
Julio.
driving force. As much as I would love to like be able to solo like crazy, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put in the work to do it. I don't know.
It's like I'm just saying it right now.
Not my
Like, I'm
drive.
singing, trumpet, rhythm.
Yeah,
Like just letting you know, man.
and I mean, any solos.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
No, it's not, and it's not my thing. Like it's never been my thing. Like to be like, I want to be the best guitar player.
Yeah, I see.
It's just not. So the solos I do,
They're-
practice.
Just in case anybody missed it, now we're talking about Los de Esta Noche. How did that feel, man, when y'all started the band? It was you, Juan, Renee.
We had an accordion player, Cesar, great accordion player.
That's the beginning of Los
Los de Esta Noche, yeah. Juan, Renee, and I did have a band in between called that we called Bala Almada. And we did a couple of shows, one of them at Salute, and like super loud and noisy. It felt really good because I've always been into like the kind of dirtier music and kind of, punk rock stuff. And it was just an opportunity to kind of do that.
Y'all both big Bad Brain fans, right?
Oh yeah.
That shit always got me. I was like, yeah, I'm into Bad Brains, but like,
I love
shit, I remember one night you and Tony were just fucking went off on Bad Brains.
Well, we ran into each other. I forgot where it was. I think it was when what was that bar on Mitchell? It looked like a house, but it was it used to be called Arturo's back in the day.
Probat? Mitchell?
Yeah, it's like Mitchell and Proban. It's like right there by that park. When I think you guys were playing, we went to go see y'all. But before y'all went up, you're like, "Hey, I gotta talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." And you told me you went to go see Bad Brains in Austin.
Oh, shit.
And you're like, "Dude, you wouldn't believe they thought I was a security guard." You remember telling me about that?
Yeah.
And you want to tell us the story about that?
Hell yeah, let's go.
I mean, I'm going to leave some things out, but
That's fine. I mean, I just, and you were telling me, I was like, dude, I was like, "Oh, dude, you got to see Bad Brains." He's like, "Yeah, but check this out." I was like,
yeah,
okay.
it was just one of those random like things, experiences that just kind of, it was cool as shit. Yeah, I went with a friend of mine, Andy, who was also in a bunch of bands here in town and stuff. Great dude. And we went up there, and as soon as we got to Austin, we see their bus, and like we see like HR come out. We're like, "Oh, look, that's HR." It's like, all right, badass. And then we went out and like had some drinks and stuff before the show. Come back to the show, and we end up like kind of in the front, right in front of the stage, but off to the side, right by the fence. I happen to have a beard. I have a beard now, but I had a full beard. It was a huge beard at the time, and all the security at the fence had beards, and because of where I was, people thought part of the crew. And so they were asking me like for permission to go and take pictures in front of the stage. And I'm like holding a drink. I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then they take a picture. I'm like, "All right, that's enough." And I bring them back. And
Into the role.
and I was like, then I found myself like on the other side of the fence, and I'm just like in front of the stage, and like people like the pit is going, and people are going crazy, and
You're standing across with
and I'm just there, and I'm like, and at that point I'm like starting to work, and I was like, okay. I was like now back up, this and that, and one of the security dudes that's there, he's like, "Hey, I hear him talking to one of the other guys and was like, I need to go to the restroom. And I was like, hey, it's cool, man. I got it. They think I work here. And it was so crazy. Like, and so they like let me. And I was just there.
Nobody even asked.
Nobody even asked. And like, cool, I saw the entire show, like just like right in front of them. And this was at Mohawk.
Nice.
And awesome. The show ends and we're hanging out and then I'm like talking to the guitar player and I'm like, he starts like, it was this badass conversation. And we had some drinks and we had a good night and stuff.
Dr. No.
So yeah, and we were like, I was super excited and I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, trying to be as cool as I can, but we're actually having a real conversation. I'm like, oh fuck, like this is badass. And he starts telling me about them playing in like Berlin and stuff, and it was like one of the first bands that played there. And after the wall went down and stuff, and
wow,
it was just stuff like that, and like really, really cool
stuff like that. That's fucking crazy, bro. That's bad.
It was great. Yeah, I was super excited. It was like super hyped and yeah, so I'm like, yeah, we gotta get you out to San Antonio. He's like, well, we've never played San Antonio. I was like, oh yeah, no, we'll get y'all there, man. This and that. I was in a certain mood, and I was like, yeah, cool. And there were a lot of things that night. There was that, and then after, I was like, all right, man. We talked for like a good 30-40 minutes, and we're like, I was like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah.
Like,
oh shit.
It's, you think of celebrities and people you admire and things like that. Sometimes it's not that easy, but it was cool. We scored some posters and stuff also at random. We might have swiped a poster out of it, but it just worked out, and I was just super hyped because it was Bad Brains. And sometimes I'm sneaky like that. Sometimes I like let my anxieties and fears and stuff get in the way of me doing certain things. But
understandable.
But sometimes I'm real quick with understanding situations, and I'm just like, I can take advantage of it.
Hell yeah!
But we leave the venue, and like we're walking out, and their bus is out there. I happen to see him. The window was open. I see him sitting in the bus, and I was like, hey, what's up? He's just like, hey, what's up? I pointed to him, can I go in the bus? And he's just like, yeah. I was like, no fucking way. And I was like, all right, yeah. So I get in the bus. I've never been in a tour bus, but I'm like, oh yeah. I went in there and I sat across from him, and I'm like sitting in there, and the manager's there. I mean, eventually I was like, I have nothing to talk about. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I just thought it was cool, and so
for sure, that's fucking cool.
We they signed the posters and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, it's cool. I was like, I got to meet both of them, and they're the band in different ways, and I was like, man. Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, I remember too. Like we go see you play, and you had a little HR in you too, man. Sometimes, swinging from doors and climbing. I know we talked about it earlier too, but that time at Sam's Burger Joint.
Yeah.
I remember telling you that we went to your show, and the band comes out and they're playing, and you're nowhere to be, you're not there, and the band's already playing, and we just hear somebody yelling the lyrics, like, and he's like, and then we look, and you're like swinging on one of the doors, and you're just like yelling, and and everybody's like, that's punk rock right there.
Punk rock and right there.
So, and a great show, right? But then there was a story later that y'all got banned from Sam's Burger Joint.
Yeah. And the banning was like a whole different situation. I did get in trouble for like hanging on to stuff and climbing stuff, and I remember they had some like things on the side. I forgot because
they had a tall stage.
Yeah,
so,
they had a
fucking door.
There were things like
high
around, and I was like, and anytime there was an opportunity to do it, I would do it.
For sure.
I always got in trouble there. I would hang on like the sound panels because they were on chains.
Yeah, it screwed pretty much everything to the roof. So you were good. You started fucking swing.
Yeah.
And this was at Bonds. I'm like, shit.
I was lucky.
the energy that y'all brought with Muncie's going into was this Noche was always great. That magnetism.
Yeah.
You always brought that shit. I know that we had talked about that earlier, finding your way on stage, how to present yourself.
Yeah.
So I know you were talking a little bit about that. How did you come about figuring out what you wanted to be?
I think it's just all the like pushing the boundaries, including like climbing on stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm very much this like I'm either on or off, and if it's on, it's loud, and if it's off, I'm just like not there sometimes, like super quiet or whatever. And I think part of me getting over like stage fright and all that stuff, which still happens every single show, like it never fails. I'm always nervous.
Yeah, I get that.
That's part of getting through and over the anxiety and everything else that comes with not just playing on stage, but just like life and like being around people,
Yeah, for sure.
And,
like at the house parties where you'd be facing the band and not the crowd.
Yeah. And I think
but that was way back high school.
I think it's a combination of both like maybe, copying people that I admired and people that I thought were badass, whether it was like watching videos of like Bad Brains or Dead Kennedys or, Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday. And like, there was a range, right? And then, of course, like Juan Gabriel and all these like people that really, showed a lot of like what they were singing was coming from. And maybe
passionate performance on stage.
Right. Yeah. And then it's a thing, right? Like, and people can tell when you're kind of just faking, and maybe like the writing wasn't like maybe I wasn't as passionate about some of the stuff I was writing about, because in some cases it was like I got to finish a song, but now at a point where I won't do it unless I'm really feeling it. And so it's just kind of a way of selling things. I was genuine, but it added an element to what we were doing as a band.
So with the album that comes out, where did y'all record that, and how long did that take y'all to get that done?
So with the Los de Esta Noche stuff, so we'd already been playing a lot of those songs live, because we started that band in like 2011, something like that.
Yeah.
And we started as this like just kind of norteño project to begin with. And we, after like writing the songs and putting them together, it changed from that 4-piece sound to a much bigger sound when we added another percussion player with like, who is our current drummer, Jonathan Anderson. And I think my cousin at some point had come in and out of the band as well. And then we added Tom on the keyboard. Tom, he's a brother, and Tom passed away.
Once you did say I'd be back again for more. That good things like this don't come back around when you let go. Well, look at me now. Looks like I've got what I deserve. Now what is some cure to calm this broken hearted curse? I never fought as much as I should have. I never yelled the way I can. I do it all again to be there with you. Though I know that it's too late, still I tell that story anyway.
He and I circled around each other, and we always like talked about like doing stuff together. And he played in a lot of great bands with like badass musicians here in town. And I think I saw him first maybe playing with like Susie Bravo. He was playing keys, and he had done some stuff with Sexto Sol, just like a one-off, right? Because he wasn't their keyboard player and stuff. But we always talked about doing something, and one night we played at Night Rocker, I think, with Sexto Sol. Mm-hmm. And he happened to be there, and we were like, all right, let's just make this happen. And and we did. It was him, and I think his name was Bob. He played a violin as well. And I remember sitting in a car with him and stuff, and we talked about it, and sure enough, like he and I just clicked, and we became brothers, man. And like it's kind of we had a tough relationship at times, but we always had a lot of love. And I think he really brought an element to the band that opened up like possibilities for the sound in a way that like I've always wanted, and selfishly maybe like. But yeah, everybody that's come through the band, Cesar and Tom and anybody that's like been a part of it for a moment or not, like it's all part of like the sound that we currently have, and it stays true to the name. The whole purpose with the name, or the whole meaning of the name, was always like los de esta noche son estos. ¿Quién va a tocar hoy? Los de esta noche son estos. It's not like the literal translation doesn't work. It's more this kind of like very loose kind of meaning, and it's kind of been true to that. But everybody that's come in and out and has been a huge influence on it. So that album was recorded after we had been writing the songs and stuff already and performing them, and it was just sort of this culmination, like, okay, we got to put something out.
Still I tell that story anyway.
A cool show we went to too. We saw y'all at the Corova, but y'all played in the basement.
Yeah, the basement was awesome.
Yeah, man, that was. And I think
rowdy down there.
After the show ended, I was with my wife and another friend, and they wanted to go home. And I was like, "What do you mean? Julio just invited me to his house. Like, we're gonna go over there."
That was a thing too. I would do. Everybody's invited to my house. And I'm like,
we show up and they're like, they're like, it's late already. I was like, we're hanging out, we're drinking a beer. Come on.
And I think it was Baltimore's house. We were in the back, and we're all drinking. It's fucking cold outside, and we're all, just getting fucked up.
Not me.
No, yeah. That's why I wasn't there. I was like, well, I gotta go.
Yeah.
That's not why.
No,
I'm just saying, because
I don't remember.
Got invited, and it was like my wife, same thing. What the fuck are we doing here? They fucking invited us. Like, we can't be rude.
Yeah.
But those was definitely great times. Like, yeah, motherfuckers from the South Side too.
Yeah, like, we got to stick together.
Like, 1 year you had a mohawk, 1 year your hair was long.
I forgot about that. I was like, I did try it. The hair products were too expensive.
Commendable, fucking awesome teacher of music. That's so cool, man.
Yeah, man. It's been great, and I'm happy that like I'm still able to do it. And I mean, it's been a thing, right? Like, music can be very heartbreaking as well. But I think my perspective on what I want to do with it and why I still do it, I think it just keeps me going the right way.
Well, we wait and wait and wait for something to happen. And we wait and wait and wait for something to change. See all the things that I could do, all the things I do for you. Well, I'm waiting, so come me on through.
I'm curious about all kinds of things in the world, and that never fades. I'm always wanting to listen to new music and challenge how I approach things, challenge myself to learn like new styles or instrument. Recording that first album was cool. Like, it's like, okay, this is stage one, or like, this kind of rounds that off. And we started recording the second album in 2017 at a place called Matador Studios. The studio itself is no longer around and stuff, but we never finished those songs. And this was since 2017.
It's only because the studio shut down?
No, I think we were also kind of in these transition periods. It didn't work out. A big reason is that, Tom was sick as well. He was diagnosed with cancer, changes in the band and stuff with instruments and people, the moment in time kind of thing. We're in the process now of finishing that up, coming, full circle and closing that chapter.
Where do you hide? Where do you hide? I'd like to find you. What should I say? Who should I pay? I like to know. See all the things that I could do, all the things I do for you. Well, I'm waiting, so cut me on through.
We've brought in new instruments and stuff with the trombone, Mike Chia, Manny on the saxophone. Both of them have been a part of it. It's just kind of interesting coming back around and it's like, oh, now we're playing with Manny and Chia, and both of them are great guys. Lost a bass player recently in Brandon. I mean, I love that dude, and we're bummed to see him leave, but also absolutely support taking care of himself and Jimmy, who he played with, A Chord of Dissonance, and other, I think, Uptown Creepers as well.
Do you remember? Was it? They're probably like a '90s band. Probably they were called Spies Like Us.
Yeah. I mean, these guys have been around that whole scene as well. Margaret guitar player Juancho as well. Played with like Bite Lip Bleed and has been in a bunch of bands in town as well.
Yeah.
So I think like where we are now is really this like culmination of all of our journeys and stuff, and I think like has given new life to our sound. I mean, it's very different than what we were doing with Muncie Snares, but I think there's parts that are still there. As much as we've been playing these same songs over and over, we got to actually finish this last album.
Yeah.
I mean, as closure, so we can focus on working on new stuff. I think we're all still excited about it. And
That's so
there's
cool,
like,
man.
it's a fresh energy and it's fucking cool. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
we rehearsed for the first time a couple of weeks ago. We hadn't seen the guys in a couple of months. Fuck, this feels really, really good. And I'm always working on stuff at home too. Like, so I've always had solo stuff, and there's things that no one's ever heard. And,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I write music for the band now. Here's this group of songs. Let me know what you think. And
Yeah. So you're pretty much the main songwriter. It's your ideas, and then people just come in and fill it out for you, or
yeah, I mean, I try to so I write a lot of stuff acoustically, and Renee's dad, Stribata, en paz descanse, one time he told me that like if it sounds really good acoustic, it's going to sound good any other way. It always stuck with me. And if you really break down a lot of what we do, there's a lot of stuff going on. Everything's building on top of each other, and it's just kind of open to everybody adding their own piece. I'll present the guys with like something that's maybe like a full idea in terms of like, some of the sounds and some of the rhythmic patterns. Everybody can add whatever they want. And anytime somebody's left and a new person has come into the band, it's also changed it. So I write a lot of this stuff, but I would never say that I'll take full credit for it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I can't play drums the way Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Plays, or the way John plays keys, or Jose plays percussion, and
Yeah.
I certainly can't do saxophone and trombone.
Voy caminando, perdido, pensando en el dolor. Siempre soñando, tomando solo en un rincón. Son tantas cosas que nunca he visto yo.
Because it's like they bring your idea to life, like
it's fucking awesome, man. And then
it's like, because that's how I heard it in my head. But like you said, but I can't play the drums like that. But
yeah. I mean, I'll try, whatever, and I like try to play a bunch of different instruments here and there, but I'm never going to play it to that level because, again, I'm not going to put in the work. I'm sorry, but I like writing songs.
Yeah,
I can do some of that stuff, but I it's not where my energy can go.
Right.
I was
sometimes, and unfortunately, time is the thing.
We talked about before is like where you fit in as a piece of the part of music, right?
Yeah.
I had I was talking with a friend of ours, Leo, And I told him, I go, that's why I play punk rock, because I don't have to practice. I can play 3 chords for the rest of my life, and I'm pretty good at that. And he got a kick out of that. He's like, yeah, that's why, that's why Tony plays punk rock. 'Cause, he just needs those 3 chords. So I'm like, yeah. I mean, hear that saying, the 3 chords and the truth,
I mean, it's just the thing, like, I like to approach things in a simple way. I like to write simple, which is tough sometimes. Simplicity is really difficult. I try not to overthink it, but sometimes it does take me a long time to finish something, songs and stuff. Big thing with Los Esta Noche is that everybody's humble in how they see their role. And for the most part, we see like my drive personally has never been like, I want to be the lead. I want to be the front man. I want to be the thing. Yeah. For me, it's always been like, that's my role.
It's the band. Yeah.
I also have to recognize what it comes with, but also like, it's never been a thing like that I'm like seeking out. Like it's not, for me, it's my piece and my part. And I want to practice it and know it well enough to be consistent with it. And I think that's a big part of it.
He soñado tantas cosas. Si los sueños fueran más de lo que son, yo fui rey y presidente. Me tocó matarme en el calor.
I mean, we practice. I mean, I know personally, like I practice. I've been playing these songs forever, and I'm like, I practice them. It's a brand new song to me. Every single show, I pick up my guitar, like at any given moment, and go through the songs, and I go through like all the vocals, and I go through break it down every single time. I just don't want to get comfortable, and I don't want to like. My approach has been just this, not just like learn the song, but like to learn it, but it's like. Know it to the level where like you can't fuck it up.
Yeah,
like you're not getting lazy with it.
Yeah, and I still do, like, even if it's songs that I've played a million times.
That's great though. I mean, I don't think
I'm never going to be comfortable with it.
Yeah, that's just
it can always be better.
But that's just kind of the artist, right? Like, I mean,
we're our worst critic.
Yeah, and it's for myself, but it's also for the band. Like. I mean, when it comes to things like time and responsibilities and all that stuff, like you don't want to like not do your part,
Yeah.
Shit, we barely have time for these things sometimes. And,
yeah.
But,
especially when you have to record twice, that's always hard. Tell us some kind of memorable performances you've had with Los Esta Noche.
I mean, I feel like there's been a lot. I think that first performance we did was really, really cool. We had a lot of family there and covered a lot of really cool songs that were just a part of our upbringing and things we really liked. And it was cool to see our first cumbia circle.
And this was where?
This was actually at the Esperanza Peace and Justice Center. They do a lot of great work in the community at the time with Mexican American Studies Student Organization at UTSA. We were doing a lot of different kinds of work, and this was a fundraiser. I don't know if it was to go to a conference or maybe for one of the campaigns we were doing, but it was like a pozole competition. It was just really, really cool. But that one was cool. A lot of the Salute performances were awesome. Yeah. I mean, High Tones, Danny, Miguel, and Andrea that started High Tones. When Salute was still there, they also brought the strip to life in another way as well. The scene there was amazing at the very beginning. So all of those shows were always really, really fun. Every time we play there every year or their anniversary is always fun. We've had a chance to open up for a lot of different bands where it's not like I know the bands and stuff, but like just to say that we opened up for them, it's cool.
Yeah.
from the Jizza from Wu-Tang to
Ooh, yeah.
playing with HR was really, really cool. And Bisterio was badass.
I'm sorry, with Jizza, where was this at?
At the Corova.
The Corova,
Yeah.
cool, man.
It's one of those things. You form relationships with people and like some of the promoters in town. I think that was Angel that was doing that show. It just opens up the door. Sometimes there's a lot of bands that I really admired and love listening to, and I'm like, fuck, we get to play with them. Even if it's just like I get to wave. Recently we played with this band called Aterciopelados at the Paper Tiger. Like my mind was absolutely fucking blown. This is like a legendary band. I didn't know what to say to them. I was like, I got to talk to the band a little bit like backstage, and I was just like, oh shit.
He's like, I'm not the security guard at this show.
Yeah, but it's like stuff like that, and when we get these like shows like that, because it's not like the bands are directly hitting us up, but we have a relationship with people and
with the venues
and stuff, and some of the people that run the places, and they give us the opportunity. We're grateful for those experiences because it also helps introduce us to a lot of new listeners and stuff. And it's always, the response is always great. We appreciate that. But there's been like a lot of shows like that where it's like, fuck yeah. But then playing High Tones, playing like Lighthouse. I haven't played a party in a little while. Those are cool. Family events are always
Tony,
cool.
did you say you wanted to have a party, bro?
Yeah.
Backyard's pretty big, bro.
Yeah.
I think I can get Esta Noche. I know the singer.
Yeah.
He did play our dad's party.
I think that's the last time we played there, right?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I don't know. Y'all had just first started.
Yeah.
They played for dad's birthday.
Well, but the thing was, Julio's going to come to the show. Julio. And it's like, like,
yeah.
like,
remember him doing that?
Well, I remember.
like he's like, but he's all over the place. He's like,
well, that's
he's over there. He's jumping. He's yelling. And I'm like,
he asked if y'all could play a song for him.
Oh yeah.
And it was Miguel Salgado. Cinea.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, I think we can do it. He's like, just we're not play all of it, but we'll. And yeah, totally got it.
He's like, well, tell him I said, what's up? Yeah, tell him.
Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, sir? If you know the name of the song you'd like to hear, press 1 now.
Si tú lo quieres, me puedes matar. No tengo miedo, pues que hay que llegar. ¿Y quién será? Quiero saber. ¿Qué tanto tiempo se puede esperar? Solo el recuerdo se llegó a alcanzar. Hay algo más, quiero yo ver.
He was excited. You guys were going to play. Your energy was always infectious, dude. Like, we all got excited. I'm excited too now. Like, let's do this shit. Which was so cool. My dad always saw that.
It's awesome, man. And we love that, man. We love that kind of interaction. We've had so many experiences where like people are like, I brought my kid, or I brought my dad, or I brought like my grandparents. And I'm like, it's badass. Like we've had, my parents had High Tones, and it's badass because I'll bring them. My mom and my aunt have come on stage and sung like a song with us. And we did a show at the Empire. We're opening up for Bombasta, and my parents were there. And I remember I invited my mom to get on stage. We carried her through the front of the stage. Family is always there for us. And
nice.
Huge in our lives in terms of our sound, who we are as people, how we celebrate, how we heal, all the things, right? And we stay true to that, and we try to be genuine with it. And I think that's been a big part of this whole journey or experience, is trying to stay true to who we are and what we care about. It is like fun. It is a great way to connect. And there's this responsibility sometimes with it.
Yeah, there's a work side too.
Yeah.
It's like, I know my brother tells me, he's like, well, don't make it feel like work. I'm like, well, you still got to work.
Yeah.
The old saying, like, you never work a day in your life, you do what you love. It's music, man. Like I said, the great unifier. We're blessed to have you fucking here, man. Thank you.
No, man. Thank you guys. It's been a long time coming, and it was cool. It doesn't feel awkward to me.
Well, the second time.
No, y'all two need to work out some stuff.
Yeah. I took both my daughters to one of your shows, Dia de los Muertos.
Okay.
And it was the year when y'all played that little stage. I don't know.
The Artisan.
Artisan, yeah. This is the guy that does Dale Calavera.
Dale calavera, mira, mira calavera.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah, that's them. And I was like, Dad, are you going to go talk to him? I was like, well, I don't know if I can get across the river, but he was like, I don't think he can see us from where we're at.
Yeah.
I was
Those
like,
fucking lights shining in your face. You're like,
Julio, remember me? But it was a cool show, man.
Yeah, those things are cool, man. Like when you get a chance to do any like festivals like that, like it's always fun, man. And,
Yeah.
and it's like get to be all ages, you know, that's always a trip.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
it's a trip to get these like see kids out there dancing,
no restrictions.
skanking and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's so dope, you know.
Especially with what's it, Anders Scott.
Oh yeah, man!
yeah.
Like seeing the reaction to like little kids like dancing and stuff, and you know Brandon would take his daughter too, and you know she would be out there dancing and stuff, and like you know Juancho has his daughter and stuff, and you know like family, they would
Yeah.
their kids. It was fucking awesome.
What was that one y'all had? Y'all did a show, I don't know, recently? Oh, was there like where the driving used to be at the library?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Was it
Mission
Yeah,
Driving.
Mission Marquee,
Driving.
yeah.
What was
Yeah.
because it was like some kind of little event, right, or something like that?
Yeah, I think this one was it was the Viva Poesia. I think
Before spring?
yeah, it was like a celebration for like it was their anniversary of
Oh.
every year they do like during Poetry Month.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, like I mean they're always really awesome to us, and that was super fun. There was a lot of little kids out there.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It was like, yeah.
Like, I saw some videos of all
Yeah,
of them dancing,
yeah.
and so I was like,
It was
dude,
badass.
that's really
Like
cool,
they just
man.
got on stage, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's little kids, but it like
He's like, I
very
better
punk
not go
rock.
there. He's
Like,
Very punk rock.
Kick a kid off the stage and shit. I better keep myself in check. Kid, hold my trumpet.
I mean, I was like,
And that's Tony. I hold it.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's some payback. I hold your trumpet.
Todo siempre queda igual. Cuerpo que no supo andar. Me he logrado lo que tengo, pero sé que hay que dar.
Towards the end of the show, I kind of like to ask a little personal questions, if you don't mind, and you don't have to answer them. No, I'm just like nothing personal. But I like to ask. I like to
all right,
ask.
I'm not gonna answer.
Yeah, I was like podcast done. You can give me probably your top 5 albums that you like to listen to.
Top 5 albums, and in no particular order.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
No
no
order.
possible way. Off the top of my head, I would say Café Tacuba's Unplugged album is really good. Shit.
This
It's
test
hard.
is hard.
Yeah,
It's really
it is,
hard.
yeah.
Damn it. I think Sound and Color is a really good album from the Alabama Shakes.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
That's a really good one.
Two more.
Two more. Dude,
It's almost over.
It's like I have like so many in my mind.
Yeah, it does. Like, just a little.
There's this band called Toscos that I really like. It's a punk band from I think California. I can't remember the name of the album or EP, but that's really good. 2 years ago, I was one of their top listeners on Spotify or something. It's just like, but
It's
they're
on
like they're
repeat.
badass. And, shit. Oh man. Like I want to say so many. I want to say. I mean, currently. I really like Ammo and the Sniffers, but it's a range. I mean, there's some Juan Gabriel stuff that I like remember really loving as a kid. Ana Gabriel.
So that's the whole thing too. It goes through the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
From then to now.
It's hard. It's a hard
It
one.
is hard. What you like, what's influenced you, and
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. We bring in the styles that we do because we're always just like listening to a bunch of shit. And I'm always in a given week, maybe I'm listening to like 3 or 4 bands I've never heard and people that like I come back to and I like stop listening to and I come back to. Kamasi Washington, man, amazing. I had a chance to see him twice. I fucking love that energy. It's great. But it's so many. It's hard to, like, it's really hard.
It's hard. I mean, I alys go through the list in my head, and like, what top?
Wu-Tang, you know.
Oh yeah, Wu-Tang, right?
Really great.
Yeah,
Like,
Wu-Tang.
I don't know.
Richard, is it 36 Chambers?
Yeah.
The result.
Okay, another one. Apple or Android?
Oh, I have an Apple.
So Apple Music or Spotify?
I have Spotify. I use Spotify. Well, though on Apple Music, I told you I had to like buy my own Apple.
Oh yeah.
Muncie's Nurse Apple. It was $10. So I'm thinking that was like what, $2.50 for me.
But you bought it on iTunes, or you bought the actual
I
CD?
bought it on iTunes, and I don't think I have an actual physical copy.
Well, Julio, we want to thank you for
happy.
coming out and doing this with us. Go check out Julio, his band Esta Noche. Go, y'all have Instagram, Facebook,
Yeah.
right? Y'all on everything.
Yeah.
Go check
All
them
that
out.
stuff. Yeah,
They're
Spotify, all that.
everything. Yeah, their albums on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. They're probably on everything.
Yeah,
On
I
everything.
have. Yeah, it is. I just have no idea.
So you can find
It's on there.
Los Esta Noche on there, and you can find Muncie's Nurse
Yeah.
on there. Go check it out. Hit them up on on the Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. They're out there, so you can find out when they're playing. And again, Julio, thank you, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me, man.
Fuck yeah, man. Thanks for saying yes
Yeah,
to Nobody Cares Podcast, SCTX.
I said yes
One of the big
twice.
one. Wow.
He said twice.
Wow.
He's like,
I'm never going to forget this, by the way. It's been so great. Been such a great sport. Thank you for that, man.
all right, man.
Thank you guys both.
We'll see you soon, man. Thank you.
Yeah, that was.